Good morning from Memphis. It is 1 minute to 2, so just about straight up 2 o'clock a.m. in the morning on the morning of October 10th, 2022, Central Standard Time. And we've got a full moon almost directly overhead. It's near as I can tell, almost 100%. It may be slightly, very slightly prior to full, but I almost say it's 100% near as I can tell. It was a fabulous moonrise earlier this evening. I got a couple pictures of the moon very close to the horizon, which is always spectacular when it's shining through the thick part of Earth's atmosphere, and it's the orangish, just a really deep orangish color. It's just the coolest thing to look at. But there are other objects in the night sky as well. Of course, Jupiter, easy to see. The brightest object in the night sky after Venus. We've got the moon, Venus, and then Jupiter, the third brightest object in the night sky. But of course, Jupiter can be in any part of the sky, whereas Venus is always close to the sun, but nevertheless the brightest object in the sky after the sun and the moon. But what prompted me to make this quick video tonight was the way Jupiter, the moon, and over here Mars are lined up, which is the way things almost always are. The moon orbits within 5 degrees of the plane of the solar system. But tonight it's just particularly more noticeable that that they're all in a line. That's basically the plane of the solar system. So we've got Mars right here, and I'm not having to zoom in quite as much, maybe because Mars is higher in the sky. I'm not having to zoom in quite as much. And there's an airplane gonna pass somewhat close to Mars, not really. Again, Mars right there, then a straight line over to the full moon, and Jupiter, that's the plane of the solar system, the orbital plane that Earth is on as well. Of course, Jupiter with its 80 known moons, Earth with 1, and Mars with 2. It'd still be pretty cool to see 2 moons in the sky. But here at Earth, if we had more than 1, it would wreak havoc on our satellite system. It just wouldn't be practical. The way our gravitational system is set up, it would just mess things up too much. It would mess with the tides, and then the orbital period of the moon would start fluctuating the distance, and it would just be too much. So we'll take the one we've got with our regular tides and a 29-day orbital period. Although it would be cool to see 2 moons in the sky, or more than 1. It would just be really cool. But we'll have to travel somewhere else for that. Be that as it may, I may be able to get this other star in, other red object in. Of course, Mars is a planet, but Aldebaran is also in line with the moon. If I zoom in a little bit, we may be able to pick that up. Of course, Mars is quite bright, but there's might be a little bit pixelated. Yeah, that's Aldebaran. And I'm zoomed in about 6 times. It's a little dimmer than Mars, but still pretty bright. But nevertheless, with the light pollution, it's harder to see with the camera. I'll zoom back out, but Aldebaran is also, just happens to be in line with Mars, full moon, and Jupiter. And over here, if I zoom in a little bit, we've got the lovely, beautiful constellation Orion the Hunter. I'm going to see if I can't get the belt. See, that's Betelgeuse, which I was requested to make a video about Betelgeuse, so I will. Over the next couple of nights, I'll be back out here to discuss that in greater depth, but it looks like that's Rigel. Yeah, Rigel. The belt is somewhat of a challenge to get in. It's below the threshold of this camera. Zoom in a little bit more. Maybe when it gets a little higher in the sky, it's quite pixelated, so I'm not going to attempt that. But nevertheless, Orion is I'll just zoom back out. There we go. Orion is high in the southeast, indicating the coming of winter. But it's a fabulously beautiful early morning here in Memphis. Again, we've got the plane of the orbital plane of the solar system clearly demonstrated with Mars, the full moon, and Jupiter, and very close to a straight line. The moon being 5 degrees off of the orbital plane, but always staying close. But when it's between two bright planets like it is tonight, it's particularly noticeable.